Donald Trump is a baby and a bully. And when he doesn't get his way, he throws a tantrum. And he's not getting his way right now within his own Republican Party, seeing shock resignations. Of course, a vote to release the Epstein files. And worst of all, for Trump blocking his mid-decade gerrymandering plan, which is driving him crazy, so much so that he just attacked a child with a disability. The child of a Republican who is now going to blow up his term. We are getting into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into how this Indiana Republican who Donald Trump just attacked their child, I want to start with the Democrat from Indiana, who started the push back to Donald Trump in this gerrymandering attempt. It was Pete Buttigieg, and it's the context we need before Trump's disgusting freakout.
And we have a word for that. Okay, we have a lot of words for that. But the word I'm going to go with is cheating, and cheating is wrong. And I want to be abundantly clear about one thing, because they have tried to undermine our trust in the way that our neighbors run our elections in our communities. I'm not talking about changing what's inside of a machine. I'm not talking about changing a vote that went one way and making it look like it came another way. I'm talking about a form of cheating that is happening right out in the open. They're admitting it out loud, that they don't have to do that to manipulate the results of an election. When they could be in this building worrying about things like how to get the cost of living, the cost of housing, the cost of electricity, and the cost of groceries everywhere it ought to be.
Democrats have been all hands on deck and fighting back against Donald Trump's many attempts to steal the midterms before they even happen. And unfortunately for Trump, and fortunately for us, of course, because of the work that we've done, Donald Trump's gerrymandering attempts have actually backfired on him. We saw this play out in Texas. Now in Kansas and Indiana, Republicans are pulling back on their plans, seeing that they may not even be legal because Donald Trump's plans require racist maps to be drawn. Of course, but also they're not worth it politically. MAGA is not united in the way that they were a few months ago, maybe even a few weeks ago. And Donald Trump does not have the stranglehold over the Republican Party that he would have. You believe he does? Which is why, whenever he gets the opportunity to talk about Republicans in Indiana who have told Donald Trump, we don't really think we're going to be moving forward with this mid-decade gerrymandering plan. We're not going to expend our political capital. You cannot threaten us into doing this. Donald Trump doesn't heed their advice, and he continues to threaten, like he just did recently.
Lawmakers next week are you meeting with lawmakers from Indiana next week on
Not that I know of, I might be. I don't know. They will, I guess they're making a decision as to whether or not they want to gain for the Republican Party one or two more. By the way, I will say this. I heard one or two more seats. I heard that a big lawsuit will be taking place, will be taking place concerning the California hoax, where they're trying to get 5 more seats. And California is one of the most dishonest elections ever. They send out tens of millions of ballots to people all over the place. Many of those people get 2 and 3 ballots, and they come back. California is a disgrace on voting.
First of all, there's gonna be no lawsuit in California. So don't get your hopes up on that, Donald. But we know what is happening right now. Trump is spiraling like never before. He is trying to find something to unite his MAGA base. It is why he is leaning on the one thing that has always worked in uniting the MAGA base, and that is racism. Saying that he hates anyone from Somalia and that they need to be banished from the country, that he's going to be denaturalizing people. I don't know, maybe start with Melania. But Donald Trump thinks that that's going to bring the GOP together, or attacking Democrats and saying that Joe Biden needs to be put on trial and sent to prison. That will unite Republicans. But it won't, and it hasn't. And it is just exposed that Donald Trump's grip on the GOP, much like his cognitive, his physical state. It's deteriorating. It's weakening. And so Donald Trump is lashing out. And he did so, of course, with that disgusting attack on Tim Walz yesterday, using the R word for no reason expected from Trump, but still disgusting. And now it's threatening to blow up his entire term. Indiana Republican with disabled daughter revolts on redistricting after Trump's slur words have consequences. Indiana State Senator Mike Bosak publicly declared he will vote against Donald Trump's backed redistricting efforts in his state, as he raged against the president's use of a slur Friday to insult Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. The Republican whose daughter has Down syndrome said Trump's Friday remark, using the word that, I don't need to say, crossed a personal line. The president hurled the slur in a late-night anti-immigration tirade, during which he branded the Democrats seriously R-worded. Taking to Facebook, the lawmaker warned that words have consequences, and he would be voting no on redistricting efforts until Trump could prove his policies and behavior deserve a congressional majority. His break comes at a tense moment for Indiana Republicans, who are weighing whether to redraw the state's congressional maps just 4 years after completing the once-a-decade process. Trump has been urging GOP LED states to re-engineer districts ahead of the 2026 midterms, hoping to secure a House majority that his advisors warned could slip away. The pressure has grown unusually direct. House Speaker Mike Johnson is set to hold a Saturday conference call with Indiana House Republicans. After insisting publicly he had no role in state-level efforts, Johnson has already phoned Senate Pro Tem Roderick Bry, whose caucus remains divided on whether to proceed. Even with national figures leaning in, the Senate appears short of the votes needed. Multiple Republicans familiar with the count told Politico Friday, I am going to read what that lawmaker said one more time. He will be a no until Donald Trump could prove his policies and behavior deserve a congressional majority. If that doesn't sound like time out for our 79-year-old president, I don't know what does. Donald Trump is a literal baby. How is it that we have to put the President of the United States in timeout for his disgusting mouth? That is the man who we've elected president. How? How is this tolerated? And how is it ever thrown back in? Democrats face our rhetoric and the things that we say when. This is the first time that Donald Trump has been held accountable for anything he says, any of his rhetoric. He incited a violent mob to the Capitol, and Merrick Garland's fuck UPS made it. So we couldn't even prosecute him for the crimes that he committed. It is insanity that the President of the United States has to be put in timeout by his own Republican Party and prove that his behavior deserves a congressional majority. It fucking doesn't. It was like this in 2015, do you not remember? Donald Trump had already been making fun of people who were differently abled. Do you not remember that? How can you have seen that in 2015 and just now decide that Donald Trump's behavior has gone too far? It went too far from the beginning. It never should have gone farther than the golden escalator that should have been it. And I shouldn't have to freak out like this. But I do. I do have to be hair on fire, because who else will be? Why won't the media? Why don't they talk about this? Why is it just us? It seems insane that it's Brian, Tyler Cohen, and Don Lemon, and Midas Touch and Breaking Points, and us are the only people who want to talk about this. Where's MSNBC? Well, they do fine. Where? Where's CNN? Where's Jake Tapper talking about Donald Trump? Basically, having a stroke in the Oval Office and then stroking out on Truth Social every night using the R word. Nothing. No book on that. Jake, I don't want to have to yell all the time and do these rants, but it is the only way. Because this needs us to respond. We cannot grow numb to what type of person Donald Trump is and just go, ha! I guess we expected it. What else do you expect from Donald Trump? He's the president. We should have a higher standard than this. And all of the posts have ramifications, including the one in which Donald Trump said that very post that he was denaturalizing everyone because Robert Garcia called that out. And of course, the one thing Donald Trump doesn't want us talking about, the Epstein files right here.
There are millions of people around the world who have helped us and continue to, in different capacities, in different ways, to ensure that we are safe in this country, to ensure that we are prosperous in this country. And those folks are both here in the United States and around the world.
Before we go, I do have to ask you about developments in the Jeffrey Epstein case. A judge, of course, now pressing the DOJ to explain how it's going to protect the identities of dozens of Epstein victims' names, whose names they appeared in these unredacted documents released by your committee. The lawyers for the victims say that for many of them, it caused this, quote, widespread panic. So how right now are lawmakers going to ensure the upcoming release doesn't harm the very people they say they've been trying to protect?
It's been very hard to see the House Republicans on the Oversight Committee essentially release names of the victims and survivors. Democrats, House Democrats on Oversight have been very careful not to release a single name, and we've redacted those names. And for Republicans on the Oversight Committee to release documents that include the names of their survivors is horrific. And they need to stop that right now. This entire case is about ensuring that the survivors get justice and that we hold accountable the powerful men that worked with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to abuse, rape, in some cases, and of course we know traffic children and girls and women. And so, again, we are calling on our colleagues in the Republican side on oversight to not release and be more careful about putting out the names of our survivors. And I agree, everything that was said in that letter that the survivors sent to the Southern District of New York, they are absolutely correct. We will continue to honor their wishes and the wishes of their family, and we expect Republicans to do this.
We will continue to call this administration out. I will continue to be hair on fire. I know y'all are always tuned in, and the community that we have is so strong and so important. But it also must be vigilant and realizing that we can get numb to this stuff. We can just be, oh, it's Trump being Trump. We can see troops on our streets and go, these guys. And we can't be that way. We have to always be fighting back. We have to always stay calling this out. We cannot grow numb. We cannot allow this to feel normal. It is not. And so I will keep on fighting. I'll keep on calling them out. I appreciate your support so much. I really do. And if you want to continue to support the show, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well. Leave a like on this video. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let him silence you. I'm sorry. I have a little bit of a bump on my face. It's getting dealt with. It'll be fine. And until next time, I'll see you soon.